No. All right. Welcome back to another episode of Payables and Jables, where us non-critics criticize our favorite movies and TV shows. I'm JB.
Brian.
And today we're reviewing Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is a movie that came out a couple weeks ago now, directed by Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert. And this movie blew up. I didn't even know about this movie until you texted me about it after you saw it. And you're like, dude, you have to see this movie. And then I was like looking at some reviews, and I've seen nothing but good reviews, so had to go check it out. Did not disappoint. I loved it. It was a really cool movie. So let's give a spoiler-free review for a couple minutes, and then we can hop into it. So yeah, I would say this movie is at a time where Hollywood is lacking some innovation. This movie does not lack that at all. It's very fun. It has kind of everything you want. Like, it's fun, it's emotional, it's interesting, it's weird as shit, it's funny. It kind of has everything. Kind of pulls it all the heartstrings. So I think, anyone who's looking for like originality and just something different, I think would like this movie. The acting is really good. A couple not really big names. Jamie Lee Curtis is in it as a pretty interesting character. And then what was the main actress's name? We just talked about. Yes. So she's been in actually a decent amount of movies. But yeah, other than that, I mean, there's really no one else who's that notable of an actor. But overall, yeah, I mean, this was a really good movie. What are your thoughts?
I totally agree. This movie absolutely blew me away. I remember watching the trailer for it when it was first announced, like several months ago, and it even then it looked really interesting. And Michelle Yeoh, since she was in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, that's actually the only thing I've seen her in. So I didn't realize she had such a huge following behind her. But there was a lot of hype for the movie, just like in this small niche market. But the movie, it's about this woman, this Chinese immigrant, who is trying to settle her taxes. And then this simple trip to the accountant, this H&R Block woman, essentially, and it leads to this crazy multiverse adventure, and like you said, it hits all the points. It's hilarious. It has great action, but at the same time, it's really profound and it hits a lot of emotional points as well. So I absolutely loved it. It blew me away. It just absolutely blew me away. And just it made me follow the two directors, the Dan Kwan and Daniel Scheinert, and we had talked about it. There was the other movie that they did, Swiss Army Man, and that was a movie that I always wanted to see but never got around to. So definitely makes me want to check that out.
Yeah, for sure. I do want to check that out now. After seeing this, we were talking about these guys have directed together a lot of music videos for some big artists. Like we saw Farce of the People, Passion Pit, DJ Snake and Lil Jon. There's another big one I'm forgetting. And it kind of makes sense now knowing that after seeing this movie, because it's very like this movie is very like fast and like a lot of different like sequences and like like set pieces, like kind of like going like back and forth, and like you're just like, what is going, and kind of like a music video where it's like a lot of different like set pieces just kind of like jumping around. So like, it kind of made sense like after seeing this movie, like seeing that they've been credited on a lot of music video, directing a lot of music videos. And yeah, I would say, if you haven't seen this movie, which if you're watching this, you probably have, go check it out. I think you'll love it. Try not to look at anything. Like, I didn't know anything going into this movie. I had no idea what it was about. Like, all I had was like your text, and I was like, all right, I got to check this out. And then, man, it was a hell of a ride. So, yeah, I think,
I and like you said, right now the Hollywood is just in a place where it's just, and this is something that I've talked about before about how it is just so stale and the ideas are so stale, and it's just everything, literally any big movie now is either a remake or a superhero movie or like a video game remake or something like that, right? And it's just Where are the Matrixes? Where are the Inceptions? Where are these like really brilliant, sci-fi adventure movies that once was all over the place in Hollywood, and now it just feels so dry. And we love our superhero movies, absolutely, but I don't think it's unfair to say that it's a very saturated market, right? So it's just so refreshing to see something so new and so original and just so creative and so well done.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. It's I heard this complaint from multiple people now for a little while. Like Hollywood just lacking. It's either like remakes and they're like shitty remakes most of the time, or they're doing sequels that they don't need to do. And yeah, I mean, it seems like honestly anything to be successful in the box office sense, it's like either a superhero movie or an animated movie.
Right.
Those are like the two that like, yeah, you're probably going to be, even if you have a bad movie, like even I think even DC tends to be successful in the box office at least with their movies, even though critically and like from the fans perspective, a lot of the movies are not good, but
This
they make a lot of money because people are going to go see Wonder Woman, people are going to whatever see Batman. Batman's not not Batman's not a good example with the most recent one, but you know where I'm getting at. So this was very refreshing, and that's why I was glad like I hadn't even heard about it. I mean, it's definitely like I would call it like an art house film. It's not like there's not like a bunch of like special effects or like like crazy effects. I mean, there is like a little bit of that, but nothing where it's like, oh, I'm watching like some Marvel movie right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's very grounded in that sense, which I appreciated. So yeah, go check it out. All right, enough of non-spoilers. Let's get into spoiler review. All right, so I want to hear from you. What's like the craziest thing? Like, what was your favorite like crazy thing of this movie?
Wow. So I think the main thing that I really loved about this movie is that it managed to close every loop of every narrative that they created. So, and not just their own stories, it was like, every joke, every little running gag that they created, and they turned that and have made that have its own satisfying ending. The main example is the Raccoonatui,
Yeah,
Ratatouille, or whatever they were
yeah,
called, you know. And that's a hilarious. It's a funny joke. It was a cute joke at first, and then it became funny, and then it became an actual multiverse. And then they went and ran with it, and then they turned it into a small little arc where at the end it's a very satisfying ending. And I love that they approach everything they did like that, and it was so I would probably say the craziest part and the best part to me was the raccoon part.
I
The watching them finish that whole story arc, I was like, whoa, this is unreal, so funny, so cute, so amazing.
yeah, yeah. I totally agree, man. I had that in my notes. That was like one of my favorite. That was so funny. Like they lit. She said she. So she's trying to reference Ratatouille, where the rat is sitting on the guy's head, like teaching him how to cook, and she's
Right.
saying Ratatouille or whatever, raccoon cooey or whatever, and then they literally like they're showing her as like a chef, like a hibachi chef, and then the other
Yeah.
chef takes off his hat and there's a raccoon. I'm like, this is hilarious. Like that was so funny because when she first said that, I was like, oh, they're just like making a joke out of like I never thought they were gonna make a whole plot line
Yeah. And then she
about
reveals it, and then later, and then you're like, oh, that's so funny, and you think the joke is over, and then it turns out she ruined this guy's life.
yeah.
And then
And then he's on her, she's on his shoulders, and he's on her shoulders, and he's like, dude, that was amazing. I
yeah.
love that. Yeah, that was one of my favorites. I thought, dude, I mean, to me, the most memorable scene as far as like comedy goes was the butt plug scene. Like, dude, that was legitimately
Dude, insane. And
like
then you see
these
him
guys are like just
run.
trying to and then the dude, and then that's okay. That security guard, by the way, guy's ass whooped the entire movie.
The whole movie.
Like the bald dude, like yeah, he first shows up as like the IRS security guard, and like Alpha Wayman whoops his ass with the fanny pack, and then he just gets his ass with the homie, and then he's trying to like jump on this butt plug, And then like he finally does it like off the desk, and there's like dust. And like when he lands and he looks back, he's like ready to go, dude. Oh my god, that was so good.
So
There's so many. I mean, there's so many like weird, funny things like that. I thought Ratatouille, the butt plug thing. Uh, I thought Alpha Wayman was like one of my favorite parts.
yeah.
Like I thought that was really funny.
The
Um,
dichotomy between the badass alpha and like the
yeah,
the meek husband,
and
it's
she like kept every time Alpha would go away. She's like, "No, I want Alpha Wayman back." I thought that was really funny. Um, and then just do like even the like the outfits in this movie were pretty wild. Like especially with I don't know like the actual villains in it. I don't know her actual name. I forget. Who was like her daughter, right? Like who was like the main villain. At least you like think for a while.
right.
Jojo Tubaki or something like that.
Joe Joe Baki.
Yeah, sorry. We should probably know that, but I forgot. A lot was going on in this movie, so I kind of
Well, I mean, even the main character
even
didn't
the
get it.
main character couldn't get it right. That's true. That's true. And to be fair, on IMDb, she's credited as
Jobu
Joy.
Tupaki.
What was it?
Jobu Tupaki.
Jobu Tufaki. Okay, so she had like all these like crazy outfits and
Yeah.
like all this weird stuff, which I thought was really cool. Um, yeah, and then I mean like the everything bagel, like an analogy was really funny.
And
And
then
it's
there's
just
literally a like 5 minute segment where it's just two rocks. They're just
dude,
talking to each other, and it's just script. But what they're saying is actually really, really awesome and really
really good. Yeah. That was great. Like seeing that part in theaters was awesome too, because everyone's like laughing, and then all of a sudden it's that part, and it's just like dead quiet for like 3 minutes.
they're
And
having
we're just
serious.
watching two rocks talk to each other. And I think of like someone who hasn't seen this movie listening to this podcast, right? Or just even just like someone like if someone's like hearing me from which my roommate probably is at this point, whatever. Someone like hearing me and just be like, and they haven't seen this, like, what the fuck are they talking about? Like this movie was so I couldn't even I was like with family like that day, like later that day after I saw the movie, and I was like, yeah, I saw this movie today, and they're like, oh, like what was it about? I was like, I can't really tell you. It's about like
I,
multiverse, but like you have to see it to like
yeah,
believe what I would tell you, because what I would tell you just gonna because it's gonna make no sense. It was one of those movies, and I loved it. Honestly, I'm totally here for that kind of stuff.
yeah.
Um,
I really liked the theme of nihilism throughout the movie. You know, like the whole
yep,
nothing matters and all that. And then, but as right at the beginning, that's like the theme that Jobu Tupaki, or the daughter's Joy, is talking about, right? And then at the end, it seems like that kind of helps them realize what essentially matters, and what really matters is like the relationships that you have with the people around you, right? And
yeah,
obviously family, and even like the accountant that had given them such a hard time in the beginning, they end up becoming friends in a multiverse. In a different universe, they're lovers with hot dogs for fingers, right?
oh
So
my god,
I
oh
don't know,
my god, like I forgot
one
about
part
that,
where I was like, this is a little much. But
dude. Like that was insane. That was freaking me out. I was ready for that to be over. I was like, I don't want to see this anymore. Like these the hot dogs for
when,
fingers were
dude,
freaking me
when she
out.
was watching the drama on the TV,
Oh
and
my
they
god.
started scourging each other with condiment sauce.
Oh my god, dude. Like so insane, bro.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
insane.
but I thought, I really liked the message behind it. And then because, in the beginning, um the Michelle Yeoh's character is essentially, she's taking everything so seriously, right? So obviously the
Yeah.
the tax situation and everything, and the auditing, she said her job and everything is just so serious, and she has neglected all the relationships around her, and to the point where her husband had written up divorce papers to try and make her realize, that the more marriage is important, right? And then throughout, you just kind of see that shift from her perspective, in terms of when she like really realizes. And I thought that was a really powerful message, right? And I love that they took this idea of nothing matters and used it to help her realize that her family is, or the people around her and her friends are the only thing that matters to me. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Totally agree. Yeah. I mean, that was definitely like one of the big kind of themes of the movie. Like, you like your life might not be perfect. No one's is, right. And you may not necessarily like, I don't know, be doing what exactly you thought you'd be doing, right? And with your life, or I don't know, you might be going through a hard time, but really it's like if you have people around you that you love, um, in the end, that is really like, you know, not that I think that's what they're trying to say is like that's a big part of like what matters in life. And like you could be going through a hard time, but if you have people around who you love and support you, and you support them, that will help you get through kind of anything you're going through,
yeah,
right? And I think that was a big theme of this. And like, it was at first I thought it was more they definitely played more on like the daughter, like her and her daughter's relationship, but then they definitely kind of went through like a whole like montage of like her and her husband Wayman, and like the different versions of him, but they were almost having like a similar conversation in like every like
yeah,
universe, right? Like every like version of their respective characters. Um, and I thought that was really good. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think and another big part of this theme of this movie is like be nice to people.
yeah,
Like right, like the first like half of the movie is like she's fighting, and we can talk about that because that was awesome. But like everyone's like fighting, going crazy, and then like her husband was more of like a pacifist and like why do we have to fight? Like everyone just like be nice to each other and like be understanding and like we'll get through this. And obviously like I saw it as like definitely some social commentary of like just the last couple of years of and now, right, of like just where we're at in the world and what everyone's going through and just like all the crazy shit that's happening. So I mean, I appreciate that, but they didn't do it in like a in your face, like we're going to preach way.
yeah,
You know what I mean? They did it in a very interesting, like they like had your attention the whole time. And yeah, obviously like I want movies to have not every movie, but like I think like a lot of like movies, like they should have some sort of commentary, right? Like they should be trying to say something like, what are you trying to get me to think about? Or like what, right? And like, I think this movie did that in a lot of different ways. Not just with like the emotional aspect of it, like the relationships and like social commentary, but also just, I really appreciated how they like explain, like how they explore the multiverse in this movie, how they explain that. Cause like, I mean, dude, if I were to explain, like try to explain like what I know of like the theory of multiverse, like it's like super complex. Like I don't know. Like I've read a couple articles on it. Like I don't really know. And like other movies have like like Marvel's starting to get into this space. Like they're really leaning into multiverse. But I thought this movie did it really well. Where there was like they explained it like what's going on very like efficiently and like precisely. And basically like Alpha Women's like, all right, this is what's happening. There's like multiple universes and there's different versions of you in every universe and like who has like different skills and personalities, blah, blah. And basically you can tap into that person's like memories and skill set if you like do something like unorthodox, right? So like that's where the whole like he ate the chapstick, and then like the butt
Apricot,
plug scene, the paper cut scene was so rough to watch. I was like, oh,
yeah,
the butt plug scene. I mean, I mean, there's so many. I'm like forgetting some of the crazy stuff they were trying to do, but yeah, and I thought that was like a really cool way of saying like, hey, this is how you can like access this other version of yourself, like access like their skill set and memories.
yeah.
And you like it's like basically like probability, like you do something that's so improbable that like you're somehow able to like I think they were called like tunneling or something like that,
Supposed to
like
like break you from like your traditional path of life into like a totally
right.
new direction. Yeah,
Right. So like I really appreciate how they did that. I thought that was really cool. And like I totally understood what was happening. Like,
yeah,
after like the first like 40 minutes, because you're kind of like, what's going on? Then he explains, I'm like, all right, I get what's going on. And I was able to
yeah,
just like enjoy the movie without like needing to wonder what the hell is happening. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And I
yeah.
appreciated that.
Yeah, absolutely. It was like the subconsciousness, they just shift subconsciousness from like different dimensions and then
Yeah.
the skills. Yeah. Something I really liked was, there was that one timeline where she had everything that she thought she wanted, where she was famous and she was this
Was
like,
just like she was like the martial arts like
like the Bruce
actress.
Lee, yeah, like the
Yeah.
Bruce Lee version of a woman martial artist in Hollywood, but then I thought it was really interesting where in that timeline, her husband drops that line where she was like, in a different universe, I would have been really happy doing taxes and laundry with you. And I was like, damn, because and then in that timeline, she thinks she has everything that she wanted, but then in that one, they're thinking like, oh, what could have been if they had ran away together, So yeah, he was actually, I think he was my favorite character overall. Waymond, Waymond.
Wayman, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, just both Alpha but also the one in the original timeline, his patience. Then at the end, he's the one that saves the dry cleaning store, or the liquor store, and I just, the sacrifices that dude has made without any complaints, it was nuts.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, he's definitely who I like felt the most bad for throughout the movie. Like I just felt like he was getting like, I don't know, he just had no idea what was going on. And then like she was so mean to him. She's like, no, where'd he go? I have to tell him like how good my life could have been without him. And I was like, oh my God, this poor guy, he's just trying to be like a good husband and father. And then, in the end, it caught, like, it works out for them. And I'm glad it came full circle. But yeah, I mean, the acting in this movie was great. I thought
the daughter's acting really impressed me, because I thought like from her entrance, I like had no idea who that was, and then I thought she would be a really, really minor character, but then obviously she had maybe the second most important role, and she was just, the actress was so good. Stephanie Sue, she was absolutely amazing, and the movie wouldn't have been the same without her.
I totally agree. Yeah. And she kind of like flipped the switch just like that. Like she went from like being this like just like really upset, like, I don't know, girl, like she was upset at her mom, to just being like this like villain, this like multiverse, like, I don't know, this multiverse villain who just like knows everything and sees like everything, but is like going crazy and just trying to like end it,
This movie must have been so much fun to have.
Oh yeah,
an actor, dude.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. What was do we have any information on like what the budget of this movie was?
No.
I could probably look this up real quick, because like, okay, so I'm seeing 25 million.
Yeah, I was gonna guess under 50.
And that's crazy. I mean, 25 million. Oh, so this was an A24 studio. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. That's really impressive to me. Like this is like an ambitious movie, and just in terms of like what they're doing and like what they're trying to say.
I think we need more of things like this. Not just super innovative movies, just smaller budget movies that that try to tell this crazy story like this. And I just think like having the super artsy like lighthouse film like movies is great, and I'm glad that niche also exists. But I just wish that we had more just creative sci-fi movies like this that we could have access to.
I totally agree. Like I said in the beginning, like this movie was like very refreshing to watch. I feel like all the movies, yeah.
No, sorry, you finish.
I was just gonna say, I feel like everything I've watched, theaters or like whatever, has just been like, superhero movie or like action, which obviously we love and we talk about a lot, and there's big market for it. But like, yeah, just seeing something like this where it's just like, I had no idea what I was going into, and it was just like a crazy ride. And by the time it was over, I was like, oh, that was it. That was like 2.5 hours. Damn. You know what I mean? Like I was like ready for it to be over, just because like there was a lot of them. I'll be honest, I shed some tears during this movie. Like it was so, dude, towards the end, it was so emotional with like her husband and daughter. The woman next to me was bawling. It was pretty funny. She was bawling for like the last like 30 minutes of the movie. And yeah, man, I don't know. Like I'm a sucker for that stuff. So like, I don't know. I really enjoyed it. Like I was cracking up, and then towards the end of the movie, I was like crying. You know what I mean? Like it's all you can ask for. Well, no, I wasn't bawling. I was definitely shedding some tears. I'm not going to lie.
No, yeah.
Tears are coming down my face. But this one next to me, I could hear her. She was like, she was like crying. And I was like, I feel that.
Oh,
I totally feel that. Yeah. Uh,
Yeah, I just think that, with a big budget, like these 200, 300, 400 million dollar budgets, like it just involves like the studio getting involved, and then they're like, oh, this movie has to be exactly under 2 hours and 25 minutes, or oh, we want this movie to do this and this and accomplish this and this and make sure it does this, and then it just ends up ruining like the original vision of the movie, and so
yeah,
it's just refreshing to see such a complete whole, like, just total movie where it was like two guys, complete vision and completely in touch, and they were able to fit in everything that they wanted into it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree. I totally agree. And this could be like these guys like coming out party. Like we said, they've done some other stuff, but nothing like too notable. Like this is definitely like their most notable work. So I don't know. I'm hoping we see more from these guys.
I'm gonna look up how it's doing in the box office.
Uh, yeah, and yeah, going off your last point, I mean, it's just like right now, I don't know, in a lot of cases, like money gets in the way of art, right?
Yeah.
And like you said with these big studios, like in the beginning, you're like, I want more Matrixes. We got another Matrix, and it was not very good. And they didn't want to the Wachowski sisters, which I think only one actually, I think only Lana worked on this, I mean, like Matrix 4. Like I don't think they both did. She didn't want to do it. Like she straight up didn't want to do it. And like that was known. But Warner Bros. Was like, listen, we're gonna make a Matrix 4 because it makes us a shit ton of money. So either you make it, right, and you direct it, and it's like your vision, kind of, or like we're gonna make it, and it's probably gonna suck, but it's gonna make us a ton of money because people are gonna go see it. And that's what happened, and it was not very good. And like I feel for her because it's like she's like I didn't want to do this, and like that's why I was super meta. And like we don't have to get in conversation about the Matrix, but it's just like that originality like that they had when the first like one came out was that's like that was amazing, right? And now like the most recent one was not that, and like we're not getting a lot of that anymore. It's just like
Let's be clear,
remakes.
that movie was awful.
Yeah, it was not. It did not. It was not
It
good.
was
It's not
awful.
what people
It was
wanted.
an insult to the original.
But my point was that, yeah, yes, I don't want to get started down the Star Wars path that we got going on that we got going on last podcast. But I agree. It was just not good. And that's just like I said, it goes to show you when these massive studios get involved like this and they have their hands on it too much, this is what happens. This is just what happens. I mean, dude, we see this in like so many areas of like art. Like we've seen this in like music, like when like massive labels get their hands on like a band's vision of like an album, right? It can fuck it up completely. And then you have like, I don't know if you've seen like what was the Queen movie? Bohemian Rhapsody, where like basically like their first like massive Queen's first massive album, like the guy, I forget the guy's name, but like he wanted so much, like he was like, no, you can't have this song, you can't have that song. Like he didn't want to have what's like one of their most famous songs, like the opera. Oh my god, I forget the name. Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
My
you're right.
Queen.
Sorry. It's late. It's late here. It's almost 11 o'clock, guys. It's almost 11 o'clock on the East Coast. But yeah, and they're like, no, we like this is gonna be like this is the song we want to play on the radio, and they're like, if you're not about that, we'll find some other like way of getting this out there. And they did it, and look what happened. It's like one of the greatest songs of all time. So it's just like we've seen this so many times in like throughout history, and I feel like we see it even more now in movies and shows.
It's so bad. It's so
I
bad.
mean, I don't like. Have you watched The Witcher at all?
Yeah.
Did you watch this most recent season?
Mhm.
How'd you feel about it? Just like overall, like what was your?
I saw a ton of backlash on the final two episodes, to be honest. But
Yeah,
it was whatever to me. I can't say I love the show entirely, to be honest. I think it's a little more on the generic side.
totally agree. I liked the first season a lot. I thought this second season was like I did not enjoy it that much, honestly. I thought, and from what I like, so my buddy, he read the books, and so he knew he like and like he's even played the game, so like he knew like everything that was and he said like they completely just did like a 180, like they just had so much stuff that was just made up in this season,
Apparently,
And that's why it got so much backlash from like a lot of people who like knew the series and like just follow the books are so good, follow the books, you have all this like source material, and they didn't do that. And I personally did not like it, and I've seen a lot of like backlash, like you said, on like this, especially the second season. And again, it's just like there's like Netflix like getting their hands into this
right.
and like trying to like do too much. It's like, dude, just let the artists do their work, man. Like,
Yeah. Apparently, the monsters that were killing the Witchers in the end were like the simplest monsters or something, and that it's an absolute insult to Witchers that these like basic monsters were killing so many Witchers and stuff, and people were really upset about that.
yeah, yeah. So anyway, going back to what we were saying, like, I don't know, I definitely appreciate this movie, and I hope we see more like this. But I don't know, I feel like movies like this are kind of, I don't know, rare these days.
Weird.
They're far and few between. You know what I mean? We're not getting many. It's because Nolan and Tarantino aren't making many movies nowadays.
They're the only one that can do whatever they want, to be honest.
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I just looked up how it's doing in the box office, and
Yep.
it's not doing super well. It's off of a $25 million budget. It's made like 32 million, so it's not doing like insanely well.
Yeah. I think it's one of those movies like that's like, dude, that goes back to what I'm saying. Like, there's been so many examples of like these, yeah. So many examples of these really good movies that have, no, you're fine. Really good movies that have like are critically acclaimed and people love, but they just don't do well in the box office.
Dude,
It's
Blade
because
Runner 2049, another one that really bothered me because that one bombed at the box office and it was an amazing
the movie's amazing and like critically acclaimed too. Like, amazing movie. And yeah, it's just like, dude, unless you're again a superhero movie or your animated movie or you're like a remake of some movie, it's like it seems like it's the only way to actually like make a splash in the box office.
That's
This
just bad, dude.
this movie will make its money that's over the years because it is really good, and it will get on like something like HBO or Hulu or whatever, like the streaming services, and a lot of more people will see it. I think this, you know, and I think again, like, well, I mean, the guys already made more money than they, as long as you're making more money than you spent, right? That's a good thing. So they already did that, which is good. But I do hope it gives like these guys and some of the actors and actresses like, you know, some more name brand.
Also, the thing working against it is that it wasn't released to all theaters. It was like a limited
Yeah.
theater too.
Yeah.
So maybe
I
mean that hurt it.
I was happy when I saw it in like the theater I go to, because you said you got to see it, and I was like, all right, I hope it's there, because I don't really feel like going outside the city, and luckily it was in that theater, so I was happy about that.
So I don't know. I don't know what the projections were for it, so I'll have to research into that.
A little quick Easter egg. Did you ever watch Workaholics?
Yeah.
Do you remember their coworker Wayman? Do you remember Wayman? Like in Workaholics, like he never talked. He never spoke. He was like this very short man. You know, remember Wayman? Okay, well, Wayman, hold on, maybe I can pull up my screen. Hold on, let me see if I can show my screen. So he was in this movie. And I thought that was hilarious because, first of all, wait. This guy. Hold on. I'm gonna share my screen.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, I don't know. I'm not gonna share my screen, but you know what I'm talking about now.
Yeah.
So yeah, Wayman, he was in it. So he was in the universe where she was like the martial arts actress. He's sitting next to her in the theater when she's watching herself in a movie. He's sitting next to her.
She
the popcorn. She like freaks out. He's sitting next to her. I was like, yeah, that's Wayman from Workaholics. And I thought that was hilarious. Just, I don't know. I'm assuming they did it on purpose because like his name was Wayman, and then in the movie the main guy's name was Wayman, and they just threw him in there. I thought that was really funny. But anyway, yeah. So that was a quick little Easter egg I saw.
Just bring me back to the movie though. I thought the one thing that I would have to say was I like a bit of a flaw, maybe, you know, obviously this is my opinion. But by the end, I did find it a little repetitive that, you know, she was doing the same thing with every single member of the family. she made up with her dad, and then she made up with her husband, and then she made up with the daughter, and then by the third, it was like, it was yet another tearjerker, but by then I was, I can't say it was as effective as, like, the first couple were. So I think for me that might just be a little bit of a flaw there, but yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, how would you have liked them to do, like like split that up somehow, or not just not have her necessarily make up with everyone?
Yeah, I think it was something they must have talked about in the script, because they must have realized it, because they were trying to find different ways to do it with each family member, with the father, it was like, it was about the departure, and then with the husband it was like about, um their dissipated love, and then with the daughter it was more about like the neglect, and it was like just slightly a little different, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that it could have been done any better, but just finding a way to just work around it, I think would have been a little better.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I kind of agree with that. And they kind of, yeah, they kind of shoved that all in at the end there, where it was like just kind of father, husband, daughter.
Yeah, the
Um,
last 20 minutes it was just going down the line.
yeah,
But
it,
that
it
being
got
said,
it still got me. It still
yeah,
totally got me.
the
I
husband was the strongest one for me. And then when it came to the daughter, I was like, oh, they're gonna do the same thing again. And then she did it again with the coworker.
Yeah, yeah, she did, or like
Or-
the tax woman.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, she did. Oh my god, yeah. I'm trying to think of like there's any like other insane parts of this movie that we didn't cover. I'm trying to think. I mean, okay, let's talk about like the fighting, dude. The
yeah,
fighting was awesome.
yeah,
Like I did not expect that at all, dude. And they are so creative with it. Like the fanny pack, when Layman's using the fanny pack, that was like kind of the first time we see it. She the woman with the dog, she's like
yeah.
spinning her dog around.
That as a nunchuck, yeah,
That was so funny, dude. I mean the dog, and then like the part where she comes out and they like gas the one room. She comes out with like the shield, and they like go to like the woman who like is doing one of those sign, like spinning one of those signs on the side of the road. And then she
yeah.
like taps into that woman, and she's like using the shield to do some crazy shit. Dude, it was just like so clever what they were doing. I loved it. I thought it
Yeah,
was
as
awesome.
expected, with having like Michelle Yeoh as your lead, though, it was like, she was very fluid, and her even at her age, her martial arts look super clean. So
It's all about that crouching tiger, hidden dragon, man. She still got it. She still got it. She knows what she's doing. Was she the one like running on top of trees in that movie? And Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Was she like the main character?
she was uh she was not the one that was running on the trees. I forget her name, but she was like the one that they have a really famous fight scene where the woman that ran on the trees, I forget the actress's name, but she's another legendary like martial artist. She was also in like a couple of Rush Hour movies and stuff.
Okay. Okay.
But
Yeah.
those two fight, and it's super awesome. It's a
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Yeah. God, I haven't seen that movie in a while, but yeah, no, I mean, yeah, like we said, like this movie had everything, man. It really did have everything. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Uh, what else? Anything else to say about this movie?
I just want to see more movies like this. It was
Yeah.
amazing, and I'm gonna try to take my girlfriend to go see it again,
Nice.
hopefully soon. And maybe they even make a sequel. I don't think this movie needs a sequel.
No, I don't want them to make it. If they want to do something, if they want to like make a separate movie that's like loosely tied, if you want to call it that, I'm cool with that. But like, I don't personally want like a sequel.
Yeah,
Like, I
I
think they should just like make another movie, do their own thing. Maybe it can like kind of reference back to this movie or whatever they want to do. But yeah, I wouldn't. I don't know. Doesn't
let's
seem
give
like a movie.
these guys a Star Wars movie. I'm kidding.
Oh God, I don't know about that.
I'll
I don't know about
probably end
that.
up watching Swiss Army Man though.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. From what you
Try to
told me.
do- Yeah, we can try to do an episode on that.
So, yeah, I think we should try to do. So, have you seen any? So, okay, so we're talking about The Northman came out right recently. I don't think either of us have seen it yet, uh, but I haven't seen actually any of Robert Eggers' movies. So, I would like to see The Lighthouse and or The Witch and The Northman at some point. So maybe we could do next pod on one of those movies. It doesn't even have to be The Northman.
I've actually already seen both.
You've seen The Lighthouse and The Witch? Okay. Okay.
The Lighthouse is really good. The Witch is it's a very slow burner and it's really messed up.
Okay. All right. Is it
Uh,
good though? I mean, is it worth the watch?
So I saw it many years ago.
Okay.
I can't say I liked it at the time, but my opinion might be different now.
What about The Lighthouse? Would you
Lighthouse
review
is
that?
awesome. Lighthouse is a fantastic film. I think Robert Pattinson's in it. William Defoe's in it, and William Defoe's acting in that movie. Well, both, but William Defoe is definitely a huge standout in
Okay.
that movie. And it's really twisted, really interesting, and we can talk about the ending because the ending is pretty nuts.
Okay. All right. Well, that'd be fun. I need to check it out. So I haven't watched it yet. All right. So we could maybe do that or The Northman.
Yeah.
We also have Moon Knight ending soon, so we could finish up our review on Moon Knight at the end.
Really quick about Robert Eager is that, I thought that's why I was really interested in The Northman, just because, his first two they're pretty similar in that it's like a really sinister, like horror with like a dark supernatural, like maybe vibe to it. And then Northman seems like this, dark fantasy action Viking movie. So it just seemed like a bit of a much different path that his other two movies were on. So
it sounds like that's what it is.
yeah.
But like it has some of the like weird, like I don't know, weird elements that his earlier movies had. Like it still has some of that.
That's what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
if
but
it
it
is,
right. Yeah,
what?
sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say if it is that, then I think this movie could be amazing. But
Yeah.
I can definitely understand if this movie's not for everybody. I would say The Witch, definitely not for everybody. The Lighthouse, if you're a good movie watcher, it is pretty weird though. There's some really weird
I
parts.
hear it's very bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
The Witch is fucking really weird.
I mean, I don't know, like Green Knight's definitely not for everybody.
That's
Like
but
if I think, see, for me, I'm not going into the Northman thinking like, oh, this is going to be just like this straight up like Viking action film. Like I totally expect this like dark, like weird, like definitely like some more artsy kind of components of the film with like some action. Like I'm not expecting this like, I don't know, like Lord of the Rings action. Like
Yeah.
with Green Knight, I did not know it was like an art house. So I thought I was like going into some like really cool like story of like this dude's journey and there's gonna be like cool action stuff. And like it was a journey, but that movie was very very art house. Like probably the most kind of like art house film I've ever seen, honestly. And it
actually,
was
I loved.
I did like it. I enjoyed it. I'm just saying, like, if someone going into that is expecting something different,
Yeah.
they could be very disappointed. You know what I mean?
Absolutely crushed. You need to
Yeah.
know. You need to know what it is. Yeah, but I thought
Agreed.
in a lot of ways, I honestly felt like it should have been nominated for best director, but I mean, it obviously did not get the nod. But
Yeah. Yeah. All right, man. Anything else you want to say about the?
should we give it a score?
Yes, let's do that. Yes. Go for it. What's your score?
Yeah, pretty confident in a 9. I think.
Okay.
I was going back and forth between 8.5 to even like a 9.5 because this movie does tiptoe the line between being a masterpiece and it just comes at such a time where a movie like this was so needed. But I'm going to settle in on a 9.
All right. I mean, to make it interesting, I'll give it a 9.5 out of 10. I don't want to have the same rating as you. I think it deserves that between a 9 and a 10. I agree, just for its originality and just all the points they hit on, and they just did it in like a very like I don't know, precise and like easy to understand way, and just like a way that just made you laugh and at least cry, at least in my sense. So I definitely
I'm not gonna
appreciate.
lie, it definitely hit me in the feels really hard, dude.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
and I'm like,
Well, now if you go with your girlfriend, dude, just cry, man. It's all good. Like it's.
She's gonna fall. She's gonna stop.
I'm glad I'm not the only one. That's good. I'm glad I'm not the only one. But all right, man. Well, good stuff. All right. Well, that's it for everything everywhere all at once. Like I said, if you haven't checked it out, well, if you're at this point in the podcast and you haven't watched it, I don't know why you watched this whole podcast because everything is spoiled for you. But I would still go watch it honestly because you'll still be kind of. I think your mind will still be blown.
Even if you've been spoiled, it will blow your mind.
Yeah. Agreed. This is definitely like a multi-watch movie. I don't know if I probably won't see it in theaters again, but like once it comes out, I'll definitely watch it a couple more times.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we covered it. So thanks for watching. If you like this episode, make sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more content. Comment below for any other movies or TV shows or any other topics that you'd like to hear from us on. Us non-critics will criticize anything you give us. That's what we do here on Pables and Jables. Yeah, I think that's it, man. We can close it out.
All right, guys.
All right. Have a good one. Thanks.